Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here coming at you from the Knife Center, and today's Cyber Week continues with our fixed blade sale. We've got a ton of great items marked down. I've pulled a few of some of my favorites included in the sale. I got them right here in front of me, so let's check them out. So the first is a bona fide classic, the Buck 119 Special fixed blade hunting knife. And right now, we're under 50 bucks on this American-made fixed blade, $49.95 for this bad boy right here. Blade is about 6 inches long with that classic Buck clip point shape, hollow grind with a swedge, and a nice little fuller right there. And it's made from their 420HC steel, which most of you people out there know. Buck's 420HC heat treat is bar none the best in the industry. So you're getting a lot of really good performance for your $50 with this knife. The handle itself is black phenolic. You've got that nice silver guard across the front, as well as the silver butt cap. And unlike some of the combat designs out there that might have an equally spaced or equally sized guard here on the knife, the guard on the back on the Buck 119 is a little bit smaller. That way you can get up above, get onto the spine of the knife, choke up a bit more easily than you could with a bona fide combat knife. Now, obviously not the same as if it were a smooth spine like a bushcraft knife, but that's sort of the trade-off you get with this blade right here. All around great outdoor tool, a classic. It's proven itself time and again on medium to large game. Great camp knife. Even comes with a nice black leather sheath with a snap closure around the side. What I really like about this sheath, especially once it's broken in, is you can unsnap it and easily pull the knife out, and the flap stays out of the way. And also because the flap folds over towards the back, if you're tromping through brush or breaking trail or anything like that, and a branch happens to glance off of this, you're not likely to pull the snap open and lose your knife as you go through. But that's the Buck 119 on sale right now for less than 50 bucks. So speaking of some of those combat designs like I was talking about, let's jump right into one. Very similar DNA with this knife right here to that Buck 119, and this is the KBar short fighting knife, right now at $56.66. So the original KBar knife took the hunting knife designs of the day, extended the blade a little bit and made it fit for combat. Well, with this short version, it's scaled back down a little bit, so you still have that combat DNA and a little more controllable, a little more outdoor friendly size actually, but still a great combat knife overall. So with the blade, you can clearly see a similar design evolution to that Buck 119. Blade is about 5 1/4 inch. We've got 1095 carbon steel with this though, rather than a stainless steel. And we've got a powder coating to help with corrosion resistance, but that 1095 carbon is going to be very tough, very durable no matter what you're doing with it. We've got a swedge and a fuller, just like that Buck 119, but instead of a hollow ground, we've got a flat saber grind. The guard is equal on either side, great for combat sorts of things, but it's not super huge too, so you still can kind of get up behind the back of the blade if you need to. And instead of stacked leather like the classic, we've got craton handles here. A little more grip in cold weather, and because there's no tang that's actually sticking out, it's going to be nice and warm too, very easy to hold on to. It is a full tang knife, of course, but it is a stick tang design. You can see the end of the tang right there. But at this size especially, this knife is going to be good in the outdoors, good for those combat applications. You've even got a nice hard synthetic sheath to keep it secure, and at $56.66, made in the USA by KBar, pretty good deal. Let's do another combat-inspired design, and we're going to go with the Gerber Strong Arm right now, also on sale for just under 55 bucks. We're $54.99 on this knife right now. Now this is a USA-made Gerber, and in my opinion, it's one of their best releases they've done in a few years. It's a very solid design, like I said, made in the USA, works great for combat, and would make a great survival knife as well. Blade is almost 5 inches long, 420HC steel, and we've got a drop point shape as opposed to the clip point profile of those other knives. Because of that, the tip should be a little bit more robust. We still have a flat grind, a saber style flat grind on this knife as well, with a black coating. So rather than being like a powder coat or a painted on finish, this actually is a ceramic blade coating. So you've got a very hard surface on the outside, overall increasing the scratch resistance, or increasing the protection against scratches, I should say, of the steel underneath, as well as bolstering its already stainless qualities. As we can see, the guard on this knife is getting even smaller still, but it still provides a good bit of protection. And I really like what they've done with the handle right here. We've got a nice pinch point right behind those guard points that makes it very easy to control this larger blade. Larger on the larger side of medium anyway. Makes it very easy to control very well. This is a full tang design again with a rubber overmolded handle that I find very comfortable. Again, it's going to be great in colder weather or especially wet environments. And on the back, we actually have the pommel that's protruding into a bit of a striking point. You can use that for things in a survival scenario or a combat situation with ease. And since it is a combat knife, we've got a nice MOLLE compatible sheath that goes with this blade as well. But that's the Gerber Strong Arm, made in the USA, $54.99 right now. So we're gonna go with something a little bit higher end, a little bit more exotic right now. And this is a knife from Bastion Creations, and this is the Jared Wahongi Manaya Push Dagger. Now this is an Italian-made knife. This was made for Bastinelli by Fox Knives out of Maniago. So the quality, you know, is very good. We've got N690 blade steel with a black stonewashed finish and a really cool fluid recurve shape that carries through to some really nice lines in the handle. But they're not just for looks either. Because of the way they've shaped this, it really locks into the hand extremely well. Especially this part right here with your thumb wrapping around the back. I'm very impressed with just how comfortable this is and how intuitive it is to point exactly where you want it. The blade itself too has a good bit of reach. We're almost 3.5 inches. We're actually about 3.3. And that recurve is going to increase the cutting power, especially on the draw stroke or when you're removing it from a target. That's going to add a little bit of extra cutting power than you'd otherwise get in a blade this size. The sheath it comes with is black Kydex. Snaps in very nicely. On the back, we've got a modular Tech-Lock style belt clip for attachment. Because it's modular, you can move it around on this sheath so you can hold the knife at whatever angle you like, as long as it can fit it through those two holes. And because you have to actually push in on this in order to release the flap, not very likely to come undone while you're carrying this around wherever you might need it. Again, normally this knife sells for almost $200 and we're down to $175.50 on this knife right now for Cyber Week. Next up is another Italian-made knife, and this is the Lion Steel T5. And this is a good knife that kind of straddles the line between combat and survival and outdoor stuff a little bit. Big blade, 5 inches of Nylock steel, in this case with a black stonewashed finish. The blade stock is quite sturdy at 3/16 of an inch thick, so you're going to be able to really wail on this knife, really abuse it when you need to. But because of that high flat grind, it's still going to cut fairly efficiently as well, especially for outdoor stuff where you might need to be doing everything from splitting wood to skinning a critter. You're going to have a good overall versatile grind and a versatile shape with the T5. Now, Lion Steel, of course, is known for their integral titanium frame lock models, where the handle of the knife is actually formed from a single piece of titanium. And they've actually carried that sort of family trait into the T5 with its G10 handle. This is a full tang knife. You can see the tang exposed here on the back. But flipping it over, you can see that this G10 is not a set of bolted on slabs. This is a single piece G10 handle that's bolted onto the tang. The precision this takes to pull off is a lot harder than just those typical slap on the side scales. And because of that as well, the other benefit that you get is the fact that there's no tang exposed here on the backside. It's very comfortable to wrap your fingers around because there's no hot spots. Like I said, nothing sticking out. And they've done a great job with the shape of the handle overall as well. That's something they tend to do very well with all of their fixed blades, but this one especially really locks into the hand. I love the wide finger guard they've got on the front too, because it's nice and broad. So if you were using this for any kind of thrusting tasks, you're gonna have a wider surface area for your finger to rest on when you're pushing, so it's gonna be, again, more comfortable to use. Protruding tang at the back doesn't come to a point, but you can still use it for thumping on things in a survival situation. And it comes with a nice black leather sheath, really high quality here. It snaps in, not quite like Kydex, but you've got a really good wet form shape here with a snap for retention, nice stitching, good size welt, and it's even a MOLLE compatible leather sheath, which you don't see too often, so that's pretty cool. But right now, the Lion Steel T5, this variant, $154.75, so that's a great deal. You're getting a ton of performance for the price. All right, let's switch gears to some dedicated bushcraft stuff now. First, we've got the Steel Will Druid. This is the 255 model, and this is a really cool Puko-inspired design that's pretty affordable. We're at $45.49 right now for Cyber Week. So that straight-backed profile of this knife shows its classic finish lineage, and we've got about 4.5 inches of blade and 9CR18 MOV steel, which should give you performance roughly on par with 440C, and the fact that you can get that for less than 50 bucks right now, I think is a good thing. Full tang knife again, but we have an overall rubber molded handle, covers the tang completely on all sides, so again, you get that great comfort, great in colder weather especially because there's no tang anywhere for you to put your hands on. It's going to be very comfortable and provide a lot of grip. Beyond just bushcraft, because this has a flat grind, I think it's going to be a good camp kitchen knife. It's going to be a pretty good hunting knife too. And you should have no problems taking it with you because you've got a really good black leather sheath here as well. It holds the knife nice and deep, really thick welts on the side, and it even comes with a dangler attachment so that it's not going to ride up too high on your hip. But the steel wheel Druid Mini 255 right now for $45.49. So that was kind of a Puko inspired design. Let's see some classic Keparts. And first is the LT Wright Genesis. Now we've got a handful of LT Wrights on sale right now, but the Genesis is their flagship model. It's the one that launched the company. And right now you can get this for $188.95. This version right here is the flat ground model, although we also sell their Scandi ground versions of this knife. The steel is A2, and we've got about 4.25 inches of blade, and it's only 1/8 of an inch thick. Now this may not match like the outright brutish nature of the Lion steel, but A2 is plenty tough, and at only 1/8 of an inch, it's a good cross section of maintaining a lot of stability in the outdoors while still being able to achieve good slicing geometry, especially with the full flat grind here. The knife has LT's signature broomstick style handle, which fills the hand very well. And because it's a very neutral shape, it's going to be easy for a lot of different hand sizes to find a good grip on this knife. And it's going to be very comfortable in longer woodworking sessions when you're really bearing down on the handle of that knife. Very comfortable overall. It's even got a pair of thumb scallops here right at the front for a nice pinch point. And that spear point blade shape with the tip right in the middle makes it easy to do things like drilling or other fine control tasks while still maintaining enough belly to do things like food prep or skinning or that sort of thing. And of course, being an LT Wright, it comes with a nice JRE Industries leather sheath, also made in America, just like the knife. We've got a dangler attachment that can be folded out of the way if you don't want it, and a nice fire steel loop on the side. But anyway, a fair bit of LT Wright on sale at the moment, but at less than 190 bucks, $188.95 on a Genesis, hard to pass up. Next, we've got the Dogwood Custom Knives Kepart, exclusively launched here at the KnifeCenter with his famous glow-in-the-dark Firefly handles. Now, whereas a lot of people base their Kepart designs off of old illustrations or photographs, Dan Eastland of Dogwood Custom Knives actually had access to one of the few surviving original Cole Klesser Brothers Keparts, and that's where he based his model for today. We've got a 5.25 inch blade featuring CPM 154 steel, so you get modern performance with that old school shape. And it comes with a convex grind and a nice swedge along the back, so you're going to have very good cutting geometry throughout the blade for anything like cutting wood or especially moving through meat or processing food. And sort of a nod towards modern uses, he has left a little bit of the spine back here crisp enough so you can throw sparks on a fire steel. Something a modern bushcraft knife usually does very well, especially like those LT Wrights. They're definitely known for those crisp spines. The handle itself has a nice swell here for a good pinch point. And with this modern material, this Firefly, about 30 minutes of direct sunlight is going to make these stones that are embedded in the resin glow for up to 10 hours, which is pretty impressive, and especially early on, they're very bright as well. In addition to that, we've got this knife with more natural materials if you want something that's a little more traditional looking. We're at about $412.25 on those, all the way up to this version here, which comes with a matching fire steel that we've marked down by about 50 bucks off our regular price. We're at $481.50 on this knife right now. Of course, you can get it without that matching fire steel to save a few bucks more even on top of this, but it's a great knife. We're proud to have it here at the KnifeCenter exclusively with these Firefly handles. You really ought to check one of these out because they're really cool. Finally, I've got one more thing underneath the table right here that I'm going to bring out, and this is something for the little kid in all of us. It's the Cold Steel Wild West Bowie. Now this is a big knife, you've got that great cold steel swagger, and right now the price is only $76.95 on this knife. The blade is 1090 carbon steel, almost 11 inches long, really broad, fairly thick, about 5/32 of an inch thick, so even though you have that bigger blade, it's not super heavy, it's actually fairly well balanced. fact, it reminds me a lot of, say, like a Marine Raider buoy that's going to do everything you need in a combat to survival to, expedient outdoor shelter building, that sort of thing, with, like I said, a lot of swagger, a lot of attitude. Got a really big brass guard, hardwood handles bolted on, full tang design, just over 75 bucks. It's a lot of fun, leather sheath included, cold steel Wild West buoy. So that's just a small sampling of the fixed blades we've got on sale for Cyber Week. We've got almost 1,000 marked down right now, so I wanted to pull out some of my favorites from that selection. If you want to see all of them, you can click the links in the description to head over to KnifeCenter.com and pick any of these up right now at a discount during Cyber Week. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center, signing off. See you next time.
Here he goes.
Speed Racer. Very durable, very tough. Figure out what I'm talking about. It's going to add a little bit. Fair trade ram.
Fair trade. That color is probably more like a Ford.